Hello, this is Jason Clement, Technical Sales Manager at Isonas, and welcome to the Certification Training Module. Our course objectives are: cover the 3 basics for providing access in the Isonas system, learn how to add people and badges to the Isonas system through DB Crystal, learn how to create people groups and use them for ease of management, and learn how to use user-defined fields for storing additional information in the Isonas database. Providing access. So again, keep these things in mind when creating items in DB Crystal. Who will have access? When will they have access? And where will they have access? These 3 items combine into permissions, which are the basis for providing access to the Isonas system. In this module, we'll be covering the who portion. What is a person or a badge? A person is an individual in DB Crystal that has permissions assigned to them. A badge is a prox card tag or pin that provides that person access depending on their permissions. A person has 1 record and they can have multiple badges assigned to them. For example, 1 person could have a standard prox card, a pin, and a special card that initiates a lockdown procedure when read at any reader. People groups. People can, and really should, belong to people groups. People groups make it easy to assign permissions, as once a person is added to that group, they inherit all the permissions for that group. People groups also make it easier for assigning special permissions, which will be covered in a later module. For example, a new hire is input into DB Crystal and added to the HR group. That group already has permissions to a group of doors. This new hire inherits all of those permissions as well. So here we can see our people groups provide permissions to door groups. Let's take a look at an example. Company ABC again has office employees, warehouse employees, and management. Office and warehouse employees have a group of doors each has access to, which we created in our last module. Some of these are the same, providing access to the cafeteria, which we saw that a door can belong to multiple door groups. Management has access to all the doors. We will create 3 people groups. People group A for the warehouse employees, people group B for the office employees, and people group C for the management. So now let's go into DB admin and create some of these people groups and add people and badges into our system. So we're going to go up to people and groups. And just like door groups, we're going to go ahead and insert a new people group. So we'll create a group called office employees. We'll create a group called warehouse employees. And we'll create a people group called managers. And it's easy as that. We could actually assign members from this page as well, but we don't have any people added, so we're just going to create the people groups for now. We'll close out of here. And we talked a little bit about user-defined fields. So under people, we'll go ahead and go to our user-defined fields. This is for any field for additional information that you want to store within the system. So for example, we may want to store the employee ID within our system. So we'll just change the U1 label to employee ID and close that out. We'll also have to restart the software for that change to take effect. So we'll go ahead and close out, go back to our start menu, and open up DB admin again. Remember, the default password is a password. We'll restart that out, and now we'll just double check our user defined fields. Employee ID is for the U1. That's awesome. So now we want to go ahead and actually insert a person into the system. We can go up here and go to people and people badges, or we can just click the people icon here. So here we can see we've got a bunch of default users in here. And remember the recs and the aux people that we talked about in the previous training. So let's jump right in and go ahead and insert a new person. So we'll click insert, and we'll jump up here and we'll add their first name, middle initial if we need to, and last name. We can change the area. Again, in our system, we're just using the common area. And we'll need to assign a unique ID. So we'll click on the Auto Unique ID button. We can assign their SSN here if we need to, their social security number. Latch interval will typically use default. To change this, you can change it from the default to a longer latch interval or a shorter. Typically it's longer for people that have physical handicaps so they have more time to get into the door. For our example, we're just going to go ahead and use the default. There's two ways to add badges into the system. We can scan a badge, add a PowerNet, and pull that badge number in that way, or we can type it in from the card itself. We're going to go ahead and scan because that's the easiest method. So I'm going to go ahead and scan one of my cards. And down here I'm going to say read from my cafeteria door because that's where I scanned it. So we can see that it automatically pulls in that number. And looking at my actual prox tag, that's the actual number on the prox tag. It also pulls in this GUID. This is a combination of all the information that's pulled in from that prox tag. So now we'll go ahead and click add. So we can see here it added in my badge ID and it set it as a badge. So if we want to set this to expire or set other information, I can go ahead and click change. So we may need this to expire after 90 days. Or we may want a count limited on there on how many times they can actually use it. And we also want to assign this person a PIN. So we'll go ahead and click insert to add another badge ID. And we'll put in a PIN of 6464. We'll come down here. This is not a valid badge ID. It's going to be used for the integrated keypad. We won't have any external devices, so we'll just go ahead and uncheck that as well. So we'll click OK, and now that we can see we have a badge entry, which is our prox tag, and then we have a PIN entry of 6464. We'll jump over to our user defined field and we can see that employee ID is set in there. So we'll go ahead and enter in an employee ID. We'll click OK. On the right hand side here we can see additional tabs. The individual permissions tab can give individual permissions to that actual badge holder. We recommend that you use this infrequently as possible and instead stick to groups for assigning permissions to doors and people. But if we need to, we can go ahead and assign a special permission. So for example, if this person needed special access to warehouse door number 1 and he was in the office group, then we could assign them special permission just to that person. We can upload an image. We'll go ahead and select our image here. These images have to be in the Apps, Isonas DB Crystal, and Images folder. Otherwise, the system will not recognize them. So we'll go ahead and pull this person's image in here. They can have multiple images if need be. Special tab allows for special permissions to be given to certain cards. We'll review this in later modules. When we come down here, we can actually insert this person into a group straight from here. Anders is actually in our warehouse, so we'll go ahead and assign him to the warehouse employees. So we'll click warehouse employees, click select, and now he's a part of the warehouse employees group. If we wanted to immediately update permissions, we could click on the update permissions here. This will basically update the permissions just for this person. We could also click on review permissions. We could review permissions just for this selected person, or we could review all selected permissions. This is handy if you want to just double check what this person has permission to. Right now, they don't have permissions to anything because we haven't set up any permissions. In our permissions module, we'll come back and see the permissions that will be populated here. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in the rest of these people into our system. So here we can see I've created some additional people in the system. These people belong to different groups, the managers, office, and warehouse groups that we created. So I've created Anders, Jane, Jan, Erica, Carrie, and Mario. So if we close out of here and go back up to our people and groups, we can see the people that are listed in that group. So in our managers group we have Jane and Jan. In our office employees we have Carrie and Mario. And in our warehouse employees we have Anders and Erica. This is an easy way to see who is in what group. So let's review our course objectives. We again reviewed the 3 basics for providing access in the Isonas system. We saw in the software how to add people and badges to the Isonas system through DB Crystal. We learned how to create people groups and use them for ease of management. And we took a look at the user-defined fields for storing additional information in the Isonas database. Thank you for attending this course, and we hope it was beneficial to you. Have a great day.